Well, here he is. First of all, WPLAY CD Broadcasting, Charles Davis, bringing to you finally Jerald Hoover with the assistance of my co-host, walking him onto the stage. So if you checked out the last information, I appreciate that. Share it with someone you might need to come on live. Do what you'd like to do with it. But we are talking about the book written by Jerald Hoover, and that's My Friend, My Hero, written by Jerald Hoover. Looking for Jerald Hoover to come. Oh, wait. Let me allow. That was my peg. And that should do it there. And now we should have my co-host getting back in there. And then Mr. Hoover should be walked in. With that, we're going to make sure we have a sound check. We're going to make sure Mr. Hoover gets a chance to talk about his book, My Friend, My Hero. I just want to follow up that this is being part 2 to the last broadcast we were just on. Continuation. I want to say that what we did, that we spoke on, everyone has a gift, and there's a need for your gift. If you do not use your gift, people are going to need that hero who never shows up. You know, someone put out a long post about what ifs, you know, what if this and what if that. But the if is infinite possibilities. Just want to give you that. Waiting on now my co-host to come on, as well as Mr. Hoover. And that should be coming on momentarily. With that, I'm going to say, I hope everyone likes to be cut off. My wife is making sure I treat the beard. Saw something about trying to talk about how our beard can be dirty. My wife wouldn't allow. All right, so we now have, I believe that would be my co-host on, and then as long as Mr. Hoover's on, okay, I got you there. Mr. Hoover put that there. And there he is, and now should be putting us side by side. So that side by side, so you got to make sure it's sideways. Make sure your phone is sideways, so that way you should get a side by side in this one. And that way we can talk, and we'll be co-hosting this show right here for you about My Friend, My Hero, written by Jerald Hoover. It's orientating your phone there. Turn your phone sideways. You can get this audio yet. Should be getting that in. Turn your phone sideways, Mr. Hoover. See that? Turn it sideways. Left that part out in the informational. If you're the host or the one that's setting the live broadcast, you have to make sure your direction of your screen when you set is actually for you to come in. It said he declined it at first. We're going to approve it. Try it again. And should be able to add you. I don't know which button you press that time.
I see.
All right. That's what I'm talking about. Connect your mic here, Mr. Hoover. Well, WPLAY, we play all day, but we talk about those things you need to know. We have here author Jerald Hoover, author of the book, My Friend, My Hero. How are you doing this evening, Mr. Hoover?
I'm doing great, my friend. How you doing?
I am so much better that now here he is. You know.
Yeah, you need a college degree to kind of navigate this thing nowadays.
Well, I would like for you to talk about, I got to change let me change this here to volume level. I got the mic in mind.
Okay.
See if that helps it. Okay, sound check there. My co-host is going to do a sound check. Hopefully you can hear me. And Mr. Hoover, would you speak for us?
Sure, I can hear you very well. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm ready.
All right. The sound check, she said, is fine on both ends. I can hear you. You can hear me. So
can you hear me well?
Good. It is a few seconds delay going on there. So if you hear me talking, you might want to wait till it goes dead for about 4 or 5 seconds, and then you'll respond. That way they can hear you clearly at the beginning of your statements. And I can do something, give you like a...
Gotcha.
You got it.
Understood.
Now, great. Would you please tell us about your book, My Friend, My Hero?
Well, the book started with an idea that I had while I was playing basketball. at the famous 4th Street Playground in Mount Vernon, New York. And it was almost as if I had an epiphany about writing a book. And what's so funny was I was actually playing basketball. I mean, I was pretty good. I wasn't the best, of course, but or even close to it. But the idea came to write a book. So a character came to my mind to write. Now that was actually born. Let me go back a little further. I had written a speech. It was sort of a anti-drug speech. It was something that I wanted to encourage young people to stay away from drugs and do the right things, and go to school and make something of yourself. And I just had a speech. I had nothing. I had nowhere to put it. I had no forum, no platform. Of course, we didn't have social media back then. And so one day I was playing basketball in 4th Street Playground, and it was in the summer months, around June, July, and this epiphany came to me to write this book. And I had never written a book of that kind of magnitude. I had thoughts about writing. When I was 8 years old, I wrote a book called "I Was a Sad Boy." That was more of a memoir because I was going through life without a dad. My dad wasn't around, and so this epiphany came to write this book, and the journey started from there, from 1983 until 2019, and it's about saving lives.
Steve, try to do a count there to make sure I didn't run into the end of yours. Man, something stuck out, and it's probably part of what I've been going through. Everything's for a reason, Mr. Hoover. Today I had a chance to actually get in on a show that was called Daddies Matters Too. And then on this part to hear about what you went through, and then your book, I think everything's for a reason. It connects everything together, letting everyone know that, it's fathers out here that grew up without having a father, or not being grown, or might have a father but not raised by their father. So they're now standing up and showing the next generation on how they should be a man, and they should be a father to their children. They should be a provider for their household. Those things are now being showed again. It's a lack of it in a lot of communities, but I see it really hit home with the African American communities. I mean, we want to separate how we're being called. Let's just think about what's been happening, learn from what's been on, stand up. Wisdom from people like you, Mr. Hoover, and the book you've written needs to be given to our future, for our future to be better. If they don't get a chance to hear what we've learned by not having a father there and how hard it was without that father being there, why we're there as fathers, then they're not going to see why they need to do it. So I already ordered the book. I didn't have to hear any more. You know that. I said, man, look, I want your book. I got a 13-year-old daughter right now. I have a 10-year-old son right now. I have a 4-year-old daughter, and I have a 2-year-old son. With those being in my household and going through the teenage daughter part, I'm like, man, I'm glad to hear about things like when I first talked to you, Mr. Hoover, I was just like, man, you don't know, this is really hitting home. And I appreciate brothers like you who push to have your book published. I was checking out some research on you and seeing how you went through a lot of trials, a lot of obstacles. But you know what? You pushed. You kept going. You didn't give up. That's determination is what all business owners need to have, because there's going to be some trials, going to be some bumps in the road. But you know what? And we didn't get this as kids. We didn't get, be business owners. We got go to school, get a job, go work in this person's business, make their dream come true. But now we're seeing more entrepreneurship. People are learning to open their business, and it comes from the elders reaching to the youth. And if they don't do it, then it's going to be another lost generation. Everyone talks about the bad parts of what's going on in the generations now. Well, that's from the elders previously not being able to reach the youth. So having something like yours, Mr. Hoover, I'm thinking going to help my 2 sons and my 2 daughters that are at home. But I'm so glad to have been linked in with you. And I've seen some of the other things you're connected with. I feel privileged that you want to even be on my show, man. What can I ask? What made you choose me out of the other people that you could have been on today?
Well, your passion and your energy is infectious, and I say that in a complimentary way. The fact that you're driven the way you are as a husband, father, business owner, and the things that you're trying to do. When our first sort of conversation, we just clicked. And what's the beautiful thing about it was that we're about 3,000 miles away from each other, but you would have never known that you would thought we were next door neighbors the way we were talking, because the energy and the synergy was the same. It's about saving lives or enhancing lives, and I think saving lives is enhancing a life is saving a life. All right, so if you're not taking something away from a person, you're trying to deposit something into their lives, like you were just speaking about, then you're doing both. You're saving and you're enhancing. So I think you can't do one without the other. And so, what I'm trying to do in terms of getting my message out there, getting the story out there. Well, see, my thing is kind of twofold, like yours. I want people to be entertained, but I want them to learn as well. I want them to be empowered, but I want the literacy component to increase, because if our children, if our babies cannot read, they cannot lead. There's something that's dynamic about reading. It's something that reading does to the brain. As research has shown that there's certain things that actual reading a document, the brain is activated in such a way that it does incredible things for it. Consequently, if a person is doing a video game, playing mindless thing or watching mindless television for 4, 5, 6 hours, it flatlines the brain to where when it's time to study and do other, say, schoolwork, you're at such a relaxed state that it's hard to crank it back up. This is why a lot of times people get sleepy when it's time to read, or they get bored, or different things of that nature, because that part of the brain hasn't been activated. It's almost like getting a professional athlete who hadn't done any work on his body or her body for 6 months, and then say, okay, hey, get into a game, get into a playoff game. You're not going to be in shape to do that. Although your mind, you may think you are, but you won't be able to keep up physically, because your brain isn't in tune, but your body isn't in tune as well. So I think reading and writing, in particular, that does something. It engages the brain in such a way where it's open to learning, open to new things. It can take things, and it can remember things, especially when you write things down. And our young kids, I'm gonna say kids, our young babies, our scholars that's coming up have to learn, because they're gonna lose out on a lot of important factors. But most of the time, and then when they're older and they have children, if they're not doing things to right, like to say what we're trying to do with our children, it's gonna be a problem. We're gonna lose two generations. And that would, to me, that would probably give us an educational apocalypse, because they'll know computers at a certain level, but they won't know some of the practical things to make things work for themselves.
Definitely, man. My co-host stays on it. I got to reinforce that if you're not looking in the comments and you're just watching this awesome video from Mr. Jerald Hoover, guys, share this with someone, because each one can reach one. Old school knowledge. It takes each one to teach one, each one to reach one. WPLAY CD Broadcasting, speaking here today with Mr. Jerald Hoover, published author. Privileged to have him here on the show. Glad you're tuning in. Share this with someone, because, yes, here he is, speaking from wisdom, speaking from being in the industry, speaking right here on CD Broadcasting, letting you hear it, but you share this with someone else. I do appreciate everything you've been saying, Mr. Hoover. Is there something else you'd like to add on for everyone listening?
Well, I have a 4-book series. It started with My Friend, My Hero. I call it the Hero Book Series, and I make sure the word book is in there, because I don't want to just say the Hero Series, because you can go a different way with it, a lot of different ways with them. But it is called the Hero Book Series, and each title of the 4-part series has the word hero within it. So you have My Friend, My Hero. You have He Was My Hero Too, TOO. You have A Hopeful Hero, and then the last one is Hoop Hero. Now, all of them are centered on basketball, but with that, there are a lot of messages that are latent within the context of each story. Uh, and what I've seen over the years, we're celebrating over 25 years being in publication after being rejected over 9 years, is that I've seen children from other continents, from Asia. I've seen children from Europe read the book and they can relate to it. And I'm talking about females, not just males. So this isn't a black book, okay? It's not a book just for black people. It's a book for all people. But the good thing about it is that, especially with people of color that really need the positive reinforcement, is that they can read the book and they can see themselves within it. They can see, oh, these young men and women are called heroes. I'm the same way they are, just like they are. So they can relate to the characters. I've even had parents read the book because it's told sort of in a flashback form that have been able to relate to when they did things as a child. Of course, I'm able to do all this without profanity. Um, there's no real sexual content. It's nothing. This is nobody getting off like that. You know what I mean? But it's a clean book, but it's a powerful book. I kind of liken it to Cooley High and Cornbread Earl and Me. And I use those because they were sort of basketball centric movies, but they were tearjerkers. They pulled that out. They tugged at our heartstrings. Even though Cooley High and Cornbread Earl and Me didn't win awards, but you know, most black people I know, especially my age, you say that word, they remember the movie. They remember them. So I'm hoping that my book will have the same type of effect that it will that a Cooley High or Cornbread Earl and Me had, but in literary form. And that we have to get young men and women to read. I have a pledge. I'm actually gonna send out a press release pretty soon. I'm calling out a pledge to where I can get at least 1 million young black men to read the book. And
That's what's up.
the reason why I'm saying young black men is that I know young girls will read it. All right. No, although we need to read on a higher rate across the board, but I
Yeah.
know girls will read the book. I've seen that. But I want to get young brothers to read. And so my pledge is to get 1 million young men to have read My Friend, My Hero. And then I know they read the first book, then the other books will follow because it's a continuous story. But my pledge is to get 1 million young men to read My Friend, My Hero.
Right. We are looking at him reaching over 1 million young black men that read the books that has been published by a brother named Jerald Hoover that's reaching out, giving his wisdom and knowledge, has been published his book, and he wants you to read the book. It's a key in this, read a book. If nothing else, like my wife says, and we put even in one of our commercials, reading is fundamental, guys. It's a reason to read it. It gives you a personal experience. There's a lot of ebooks, watching movies, but when you're actually having a book experience, it gives you a connection. You get your own experience with it. Just going to throw that in there. How do we get the books, Mr. Hoover? How do we get your book?
Sure. I have a website, all right, The Hero Book Series. And of course, the is part of it. TheHeroBookSeries.com. Also, you can grab me on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, or anywhere where books are sold. And the new version has across the top 25th year anniversary. So that's the one you want to look for.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations, man. I need my whole crowd to be here. Whenever I do these live, I make sure I'm not around any other audience because you never know. But with Facebook, I can at least screen out some things. My co-host is there helping me with that. But I mean, 25th year anniversary, we're talking about someone who's been in the business, the industry this long, who can probably teach some of these authors a lot of things. So you guys might want to see, how did he get published? You know, I was talking about my dad. If you're looking to do something, look for someone who's been successful at whatever industry it is. So this is not only for our youth that are coming up, but for even those aspiring authors, those are looking to be published. You might want to reach out to Mr. Hoover. Maybe he'll take a minute and talk to you. I was glad he reached out to me. I'm glad you came on our show. I appreciate everything you've been saying. My co-host has been putting footnotes in there for the rebroadcast. So if you want to say anything to Mr. Hoover, do you have an email they can send you a message to?
Sure. JLHPROD65@gmail.com. I'll say it again. Jerry, Larry, Harry, Prod, PROD, that's short for production, number 6, number 5, @gmail.com.
And your website again.
TheHeroBookSeries.com. The Hero Book Series.
And I'm sure my co-host is going to put that note in there. And as we continue to net these two videos together, because we had a great informational, if you didn't see the first video, for those who might have a guest coming on, we got an informational for those who want to do like me. Hey, I don't mind sharing how we learn here. We just did an informational how you get this done. What we're doing right here, going live. You have connections you want to share. Hey, do the same thing. I check out a lot of different lives. I know you do too. But with that, I check it out to see what it is going on with you. This is one of my brothers or sisters. What is going on with you? If you're just doing your hair, I'm seeing you're okay, great. If you're telling me, hey, I got a new business, I might need to support it. I might need to share it. If you're just telling me you had a new baby, congratulations. You know, so this is all about us networking. I say it's from Black businesses. It's from a Black man's point of view. But I say we need to network with everybody because we're all brothers and sisters one way or another. I might not like what my brother does from time to time, but, bro, I love you. Throw that in there for free. You know, and Mr. Hoover, our audience has been tuning in, hearing most of this go on. We had someone come on. I don't know if she stayed in on the show, Miss Marlene Doretha King. She's one of your cousins?
Yeah. She's a big supporter of mine. She's a big supporter of mine. Big time.
That's what's up. And when I see that, that's why I had to bring her to the forefront and say thanks. When you can see family supporting family, man, I got a huge family, you know, and out of them, I'm glad to see how many people come on there and support me or share my video, but to have them come on for your interview or to be there is like, that's what you want to see. Because that's your first people, your family. From there, it reaches out. The family reaches another. Your friend reaches the brother, and it just continues to go from there. So everyone who's tuned in to our broadcast at WPLAY, because we play all day, but we talk about things we need to know. We need to know about my friend, my hero, written by author Jerald Hoover. You can share this. You can check out the book. You can go to his website. It's all listed in the comments below. If you didn't get on live, you can still look at the comments, check out his, give him an email for those authors might be looking for some way to get their book published. Even check out Mr. Hoover. He's been in the business long enough. I'm sure he can give you some notes to help you out. With that, I appreciate everyone for tuning in today. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Mr. Hoover?
Sure, I'm glad you asked. My Friend, My Hero is going to be in screenplay form. Actually, I have a screenplay already written, but also it's going to be in stage play form. It's being worked on as a stage play musical, and so I've linked up with a writer, and it's going to be fire. So you'll be able to see it on stage with music, you know, with singing and dancing and so forth, as well as seeing it in the big screen. So I have also those two in the works. Also, actually from the story, I came up with a documentary called 4 Square Miles to Glory. And me and my partner, Jeff Hawkins, we're in the finishing touches of finishing it up. So hopefully it'll be done within a few months. And that's something that's taken quite a while to get done. But I love it because it allowed me to learn a lot of things about the business from soup to nuts. So I would encourage any young man, young woman, you know what, anyone, you don't have to be young. If something's in your spirit, if something's burning inside you, if it doesn't happen overnight, it doesn't mean it's not supposed to happen. All right, just keep moving, just keep pressing, and the universe, God's over the universe, but the universe will send things to you, send people to you, send situations to you. Like I came across you, things will happen within the journey that will propel you to the next level. So just press on. It will happen. A delay is not a denial.
What you say? What you say? I hope she put that in. That's a great one to put up there. Delayed is not denied. Ooh, that's powerful words there. That's going to tell you guys when you might go up against obstacles to go whatever it is you're pursuing. You might hear a no. I mean, being a salesman from history, I know that every no I received was a step closer to my yes. So that's one thing I've learned to live with. Whatever it is I'm pursuing to get done, if I get a no, I'm closer to yes. I've had some yeses right off the top, but a lot of times you're going to go through hundreds, thousands of no's to get your yes. But remember, you're only one step away from that yes. You're only one post away from being famous. Remember, your delay is not denial. Never forget that. Thank you, my cousin. That's got to be posted. Delay is not denied. So keep pushing. Keep on going forward. Realize that there's people out here for you. And I've learned, and I'm going to share this with all of my followers, it's two parts in life that are very important for everything going on and everything you've done, doing, and going to do. First thing I'm going to tell you is not just who you know. but also when you know them. Second thing I'll tell you that I've learned is that if you don't actually make and set a time to get it done, whatever it is you're looking to do, make and set a time to get it done. If you don't set a time for it, you'll find you never have time for it. With that one, I just want to give that one out for all the businesses that are following. I appreciate you guys. I know I have a lot of veterans in the business been watching. Glad to see Mr. Hoover on today. Appreciate you coming on the show. I know we're going to have you on here again. You got too many big things going on. This was like the intro to Mr. Hoover. Yeah, it's got to be more than 2 parts because we know you got the 2 parts. It ain't about who you know. It's also when you know them. So I'm glad to know you right in your anniversary year and your books that you've written. But I'm also glad to know that before you get into this screenplay that's coming out next, because hey, I know I'm going to be reaching out. You're going to reach out. We're going to keep networking, and I'm going to make sure that you give me a chance to be able to put that out here about when that comes out so everybody can come in and watch that. That's going to be huge because we're starting it right here. It's called a seed that's being planted. So plant this seed. If it's not you, it might be someone else. It might be you and someone else who needs to know about my friend, my hero, written by Jerald Hoover. But you might need to know about this movie that's coming up next, because that's where he's going to be. You guys make sure you continue to follow CD Broadcasting. If you haven't followed the page, put a follow on there. It'll notify you whenever we have another show, and we're definitely going to be requesting you. Mr. Hoover, let me ask you, I put people on the spot sometime, you know. That's why I had to have my own business. I used to get, the boss wanted to fire me at other jobs, but I put them on the spot. Will we be able to have you back on the show? And that's how live we take them off the spot. And that's how CD Broadcasting, being live broadcasting, can have all kinds of things happen. So when you get notified that we're on, you better